Ho ho, baby, are things getting spicy? It's about 11:30 a.m. right now on the East Coast. We're about 2.5 hours out from the press conference, the FOMC statement, the meeting, all that. Well, the meeting's been the past day or two, but we're going to get all the answers, well, hopefully to our questions today. And we all know Powell might dodge a couple of questions. It is what it is. But in this video, we're going to break down everything, what's going on right now as we're about 2.5 hours, 3 hours out from this big event. And we're going to break down some stocks, kind of where my head's at overall, what I'm looking to do in the market. So sit back, relax, take a sip of your coffee, guys. Make sure to hit that like button and, of course, subscribe as well. I appreciate you all as always. And with that being said, let's just dive into it. So markets all across the board right now are selling off. We have the Russell down 0.2%, Nasdaq's down 0.2 roughly, the S&P's down 0.3, and the Dow's actually selling off the most out of the bunch. It is down 0.7%. And we actually have the VIX up 0.7% and the metals down as well. Pretty much everything across the board right now is selling off. And you guys can see SPY's still above 400 to about 405, which is a good sign for the bulls. But what's not a good sign for the bulls is the fact that this is failing to break out of 406 to 408, at least as of now. I mean, anything could, happen here. Things could change heading into the, the meeting, the press conference later on today. But as of now, the fact that bulls are failing right here on SPY, that is not a good sign. You guys can see it here during the day today. Yesterday at close, we failed. And of course, 408 is the high from Friday. You guys can see that. And same thing pretty much here on Triple Q. We have a clear resistance at 298. We failed yesterday. Well, I don't want to say failed, but because yesterday was a great day for the bulls. But yesterday, we had that pump all the way to 295. That's where we peaked. That's where we closed at. And that's where we're failing at right now, at least so far on the day. We hit 295 in the pre-market multiple times so far throughout the day. And literally right now, we're at 295. We're failing at it. So this is a big resistance right now heading into the press conference, right? If we pop the 20-day chart up on Triple Q, you guys are going to see it even, you can see it even better here. And we're going to notice that both of these, SPY and Triple Q, are in a wedge in the very short term. Higher lows are being made, but at the same time, in the past couple of days, lower highs have been made as well. So let me pull up SPY and show you that on the 20-day chart. You guys can clearly see it. So at this point, what direction are we going to pick? That is the million-dollar question in these markets, and I don't have the answer to that because things are extremely volatile during these meetings, during when Powell's giving speeches. So for that reason, I haven't made any moves today, and I'm not planning on doing any moves, making any moves until we get that direction. Is SPY going to rip out of the intraday high and the high from yesterday being about 406.50? I'll set my alert right there. Are the bulls going to take over that point and then make a move maybe towards the high from Friday? Or are we going to fail here? Maybe Powell's a little bit more hawkish than priced in. And are we going to fail at that point and start going towards 400, maybe under $400 a share? That's kind of what I'm watching out for here in the very short term. And on Triple Q, let's pull that back up. Pretty much the same thing. Are we going to break out of 295, which is the intraday high today and the high from yesterday, and maybe start making a move towards 300? Or are we going to fail at this point, start going under 290, and maybe start seeing a move towards the mid-lower 280s? Who knows where it's going to go from there? So we'll see how it plays out, guys. I'm going to set my alert. One at mark is at or below 290. Another one's at 295, so we can see what direction this thing ends up picking. And again, on SPY, my alerts are set. One's at 406.50. I might as well put another one at maybe $400 flat. Mark is at or below $400. So markets right now are just waiting for direction. That's really the bottom line. They're anticipating and they're a little bit antsy before the press conference later, which is typically what happens. So in terms of individual stocks, we have AMD continuing to explode. And if you guys didn't know, maybe you didn't catch it, yesterday they reported earnings. And let me pull up the notes really quickly, guys, so I can tell you quickly for all of you maybe that missed it or didn't watch the video yesterday. They ended up doing, where the heck are the notes here, guys? Actually, I might not even have notes on it. I might have just filmed off the cuff yesterday. I think I did actually, yeah, filmed off the cuff, which I do all the time. It's actually like second nature at this point, guys. But Advanced Micro Devices EPS came in at 69 cents versus 67 cents estimated, and they beat on sales as well, 5.9 5.6 versus $5.5 billion on the quarter, and their gross margin is 43%. Not too shabby. I'm sure it's come down a bit. I'm not exactly sure. I have to double check, but not bad. Gross margin, 43%, and we covered all the different segments. Data segment revenue came in at $1.7 billion. That was up 42% year over year. Client segment revenue was down 50%, while gaming revenue was down 7%. So mixed revenue growth and, obviously decline in some of these different segments. But overall, when we're looking at total revenue, it beat the estimate. EPS beat the estimate, and I'm not sure what guidance was. Let's see here. I'm not going to dig through all these lines here, but overall, what you guys got to realize is AMD is breaking out. The stock is looking the chart rather is looking pretty good. It's taken out the highs from a couple months ago, the ascending triangle that we called out a couple of videos ago. We talked about it yesterday. That seems like it's slowly starting to play out. So at this point, where's the next main level on AMD? I'm going to say it's right at $86. That was the high from the middle of September. That could be where we go next. And if that were to break after $86, we have $90-ish. That could be, an option, right? Roughly $90. That was the high from the end of July, also from the end of June. So there could be some more room to go, in my opinion, on AMD. It's looking pretty solid. It's breaking out, and I'm going to be watching it, and that's why I'm mentioning it here on the video. Another one that's looking like it's starting to break out is Applied Materials. It's not fully there yet, but just like AMD, which the ascending triangle is playing out on AMD, we have an ascending triangle on AMAT as well, which is not quite yet playing out. It's starting to. Today it's up 3%. We're pushing 115, but we're not quite yet above the resistance points from a couple months ago. Once we start clearing, let's say, 116.17, that's where the real leg up could start to come on, Applied Materials. So I'm going to set my alert at 116.50. Mark is at or above, and we'll see where it goes from there. If I pull the 3-year up, guys, you can see, oh, wow, good thing I did this, because if I just clear the set here and maybe just get rid of that alert, I'll set it again after the video. But if we just look at this, we have an inverse head and shoulders, do we not? We have the left shoulder there, the head, the right shoulder. You guys see that, right? So yeah, Applied Materials looks pretty solid. I feel like if it could crack above 116.17, especially 120, that is where it could really start to gain momentum. So that is AMAT. Let's take a look quickly at some other ones here, guys. Foot Locker continues to run. Nvidia is now back over $200 a share. Let me pull Nvidia up and show you guys. This is up now to it's up 3%. It's at 201. It looks like we ended up popping a 206 a couple days ago, like we talked about. Pulled back to 190, retested that resistance, which was support, is support. We held the 50 SMA, popped over it. Now we filled the gap pretty much back to 200, 205. This is going to be a huge test now for Nvidia. Does this break above 206, 205, or is this just a kind of a fake out today where it hits 205 again, gets rejected, and then maybe goes back to the 180s, 190s. So I'm going to set my alert at 205. We'll see what it does from that point. If that's able to break, mark my words, guys, even though Nvidia is overvalued in my opinion, I'm looking at it, as a trade. If it's able to break that 205, we could end up going even higher, 225. Let's see what other main levels here. A big resistance is 275. I'm not saying it's going to go straight to that point in the short term. I'm just pointing out key levels. But really the main ones that I'm looking at, 225, 230, that's where this could be going. So Nvidia is looking good. AMAT, AMD, all of those are obviously in similar, industries, right? It's in the same industry, semiconductors. But yeah, they're looking pretty good. And if we're looking at some other ones here, SoFi is back over $7 a share. Not too bad. SoFi is back over $7, although I think it's still very overbought. The fact that we're not getting a big sell-off after that meteoric rise, that goes to show that, traders, investors are really respecting the move. The earnings report, gains are holding. That's a good sign, I'd say, for the bulls. But for me, I'm still not going to touch it. I'm still waiting for the pullback. We'll see if it comes. If it does into the lower mid-sixes, I'll consider it. But for now, It's overbought in my opinion, and we have to be careful, even though bulls clearly don't want to sell it off yet. But Netflix is one that did sell off a little bit, but now bulls are starting to, pick back up. We can see Netflix is up over 1% so far today, holding over that 50 SMA. It looks like it's starting to make a move, maybe back towards 365, 370. You guys know 370 was that high that was hit shortly after Netflix reported earnings, so that's where I'd look for it to go next. And you guys know on the 3-year chart, we have a wide open gap to about 400, 390, 400, which I've been talking about way before the move was made over 330, which you guys that have been watching the channel, we called that out. We talked about how if Netflix were to break 330, 335, next gap to fill would be towards 400, and lo and behold, we're clawing or crawling. Well, maybe clawing. Either way, we're getting our way there, ever so slightly. So that's it for the video, guys. I'm going to wrap it up here. Want to keep this one a little bit shorter. Just wanted to update you all on what the markets are doing as we're getting into the, the press conference, which I will make another video on that. Expect another video at about 3 p.m., maybe 3:30 on the East Coast. That's when it'll come out. So, yeah, with that being said, I appreciate you guys as always. Make sure to smash that like button, subscribe, get all your free stocks linked down below, up to 12 stocks from Webull with any amount deposited, and up to 15 stocks from Moomoo, each up to $2,000. All of those free stocks are linked down below, and all those links, guys, the Moomoo link, the Webull link, the Patreon, the Seeking Alpha link, just realize all of those are affiliate links. They help out the channel. Full disclosure, and I appreciate you guys as always. So with that being said, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.